In today's class, I'm going to get you working on some shoulder stability, core strengthening and wrist mobilization so that we can get you more effectively onto your hands. Using a little bit of a forest yoga class style warm-up, I'll then prepare the body for moving perhaps a little bit more dynamically before we start looking at some inversion drills using forearms, then moving on to hands. If you've got wrist issues, everything we're doing today can be done on the forearms with the hands clasped. Start in a cross-legged position. If you want to build more into your sort of hip mobility, then start this in more of a yogi squat position. If yogi squat is something that you're building towards, to help get that positioning for the lower back, you can plop yourself down on top log and feel for really lifting the chest up. Beginning with some wrist exercises, do each one of these little movements with an inhale and an exhale, so this becomes more of your pranayama and mindfulness-based movement part. Take the left hand forwards, use the index and the middle finger onto the pinky finger, the thumb on the knuckle of the left pinky, and then drawing the finger back. Take a deep breath in, lift chest. Exhale, pull back on the pinky finger and reach the heel of the hand towards the front of your mat. Inhale, take a hold of the ring finger. Exhale, pull back on the ring finger, heel of the hand reaches forwards, fingers spreading. Inhale, take a hold of middle finger. Exhale, pull back on the middle finger, reach heel of the hand down towards the floor. Inhale, take a hold of index finger. You getting the feel for this yet? Exhale, pull back on the index finger, spread the hand bones, heel of the hand reaches downwards. Now spreading the left hand, take your right thumb into the little groove at the bottom of your left thumb. Index and middle finger wrap around the thumb. Palm is reaching forwards, fingertips reaching down, pull back on the thumb. Inhale, take the right hand forwards. Take a hold of the pinky finger. Exhale, pull back on the pinky finger, reach the heel of the hand down. Those of you that have locked the elbow out, soften the elbow. Inhale, take a hold of the ring finger. Exhale, pull back on the ring finger, thumb is supporting right on the knuckle, pressing the base of the finger forwards. Inhale, take a hold of the middle finger. Exhale, pull back on the middle finger, heel of the hand reaches downwards, fingers spreading wide. Inhale, take a hold of the index finger. Exhale, pull back on the index finger, fingers spreading, heel of the hand reaching down towards the floor. Take the left hand behind your right into that little groove at the base of the thumb, the anatomical snuff box. And then take a hold of the thumb. Exhale, pull back on the thumb, reach heel of the hand downwards, spreading the fingers so you can stretch into some of that dense thumb meat. Inhale, release the hands. Take the hands out to the side. Remember, you can do this cross-legged. Bring the thumbs down, 4 fingers wrap around the thumbs as if you're holding 2 pitchers of water. Exhale, pour out using a pouring action in the wrist, squeezing your thumbs about 60%. Use this to help bring a bit more of awareness into that sort of radial edge of the forearm. Inhale, spread the palms, arms reaching outwards. Bring the 4 fingers down, thumbs wrap over the top, then drag the knuckles down. So beginning to stretch into the wrist extensors. Lift the ribcage up, shoulders down away from the ears. Now for the next part, if you struggle getting your hands reaching towards the floor, shift to cross-legged or kneeling. Set the fingers so they are pointing towards you. Make sure the base of the fingers are not down yet. Take a deep breath in, spreading the thumbs out. Exhale, reach the base of the fingers downwards towards the floor, thumbs lifted. Take another deep breath. Exhale, reach heel of the hand down towards the ground, so stretching into the wrist flexors. So these are usually very strong in a lot of people from texting or whatever else you do, grabbing with your hands. But we need to do a little bit of work to stretch them and then build strength in the wrist extensors, bringing a wee bit more balance into the forearm region. Inhale to peel the hands up from there. Reach the arms forwards. Now, you're going to curl your fingers in towards your thumb so that you can do like a flick action, as if you're trying to get something off of your fingers, whether it was water or whatever. So take the arms forwards, begin to flick outwards, and aim to get quite fast, but aiming still to have that open palm at the end. Take care it doesn't start moving towards an activation on the squeezing inwards, let that almost be the passive part. So you should be able to hear the sound of your fingernails passing by your thumbs. So still aiming to go really wide. Arms are straight, so it's less, like you're in a club or something like that. Keep going for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Alright, release that. If you were sitting on the block, come off that. Come on to all fours. From all fours, go for hands underneath the shoulders, but turn the fingers in towards one another. Bring the middle fingers so they are touching, and then press away from the ground. Lengthen through the back of the neck. So here, working on shoulder blade retraction. Exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades back so you feel them almost biting together. Maintain that. Inhale, bend the elbows, bringing the chest down towards the hands, shoulder blades are squeezing back. Exhale, push into the hands, lifting, and then dome up between the shoulder blades. Inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades back, bend the elbows, chest is coming down towards the hands. Exhale, press into the ground, then lift up between shoulder blades. 2 more like that. Inhale, squeeze shoulder blades back, bend the elbows. Exhale, push away, shoulder blades are drawing back till the arms are straight, then lift up. Inhale, draw the shoulders back, bend the elbows. Exhale, push into the ground, lift up, and then lift between the shoulders. Bring the hands back to shoulder distance, but turn the fingers back towards you. Inhale to lengthen chest forwards. Exhale, sit the hips back, but grip your fingertips against the floor. So you're doing like an active squeeze into the ground with your fingers. Exhale, tuck tailbone down, round into the back, arcing into the back. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards, lengthening ribs forwards, working through some cat arches. Exhale, tuck tailbone down, round into the back. Inhale, scoop the rib cage and diaphragm forwards. Exhale, tuck tailbone down, round into the back. Fingers are still squeezing. Inhale, lengthen the chest forwards. And from this place, turn the hands back forwards, then turn the fingers inwards. So you're going for almost as much as you can, aiming to get them both turning roughly the same amount, and then straighten the arms. From this straight arm position, begin to lean back, but grip your fingers against the floor. So it's a wee bit of forearm and wrist conditioning before we get started. Amp up your breathing and squeeze the fingers against the ground. Maybe seeing how you can start to lean back as you stretch and warm up your wrists. Inhale, come forwards. Now, next part, if you find it's really sensitive in your wrists, make sure you're padding them, maybe using an extra yoga mat underneath your wrist bones. We're going to be passing through a couple of different stages. So the first part is going to be onto the back of the hand with the palm facing out. Then making a fist with that and curling the knuckle up from the floor. Then rolling over, making sure the thumb isn't tucked in. So you're almost doing like a stab down action. So come onto the back of the hands. Stronger day, shoulders a little bit more in front of the wrists. Newer to this, go for hands a little bit further back. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bend the elbows out to the side, bringing the chest towards the hands and curl the fingers into tight fists. Peel your knuckles up from the floor so you feel your wrist bones are down. Inhale, work your arms straighter. Knuckles are still off the floor now, they might not straighten. Exhale, go onto the flats of the knuckles and then do a stab down action as you lean forwards. Inhale, come back, slowly opening the palms as you roll back down onto the open palm and bent elbows. Exhale, curl the hands into fists, peel the knuckles up from the floor. Inhale, press the arms straight out. Exhale, roll onto the flats of that first finger and then drive down through the thumbs. Inhale, slowly bend the elbows, opening the palms back into that place. Exhale, make tight fists with the hands, curl the knuckles up. Inhale, straighten the arms out. Exhale, go onto the flats of the hands and then stabbing downwards. Inhale to peel the hands up from there. Alright, move into more of a seated position. So you should be quite aware of your wrists by this point. In the next part, you'll be working with wrapping the shoulder. So if you've been following along in the videos, that's that process of moving the shoulder blade via the elbow. So the elbow is spinning forward, so the shoulder blade is actually winging out on the back and you're using your lats. Using that in the side bends. When we start moving into things like handstands, especially kicking up, the hamstrings and side body need to be very long and very open and receptive. So when you do things like a kick up, there's less momentum and more almost floating up. So I like to add this stuff in, especially that shoulder activation, because it is that action that I use when I'm doing my handstands, so I feel more stable. Straighten the left leg out and bring the right foot towards the left inner thigh. Aiming to have the knees open beyond 90 degrees. If that isn't quite there yet, don't worry so much about that. You can also do this entire series with the legs crossed if you feel like it's pulling you into your lower back. Inhale to lift the left arm up, lifting left ribs. Exhale, lean over your left leg, bringing the forearm down onto the leg or to the inside. Inhale, bring the right arm up and over, reaching the right arm so it's higher than the right shoulder. Exhale, wrap right shoulder blade forwards towards the underarm and then reach out through that side. Aim to create a feeling of space from right side low ribs all the way down to the pelvis. Inhale, stretch low front ribs towards the front of the mat. Exhale, pull belly muscles in, so strong abdominal activation. So each exhale, pulling belly muscles in. Work actively through the feet, so left ball of the foot is reaching forwards and toes spreading. Single leg forward bend. Take the hands either side of your left leg. Now, if you're cross-legged, do this as cross-legged forward bend. Inhale to lift the low front ribs up away from pelvis. Exhale, pull with the arms, folding the chest towards that left leg. Maybe the arms are going forwards. If you can grab the foot, grab a hold, but pull with your arms to lengthen the chest forwards. If you're just touching the toes and rounding your back, I prefer to see you using the hands on the ground to lengthen forwards. Stay here, but exhale through the mouth. Inhale to scoop your ribcage and diaphragm towards the front of the mat. Exhale, pull belly muscles in and lengthen out through the back of the neck. Inhale, come up, changing legs, straighten the right leg, left foot is coming in towards the inner thigh, anchor down through both sit bones. Inhale, lift the right arm up. Exhale, lean over the right leg, bringing the arm onto the leg or to the inside of the leg. Inhale, bring the left arm up and over so the left hand is higher than left shoulder. Exhale, wrap left shoulder blade towards the underarm, feeling that activation in the lats, and reach out. Take care that that isn't rolling your chest down. The chest is rolling up, but the shoulder blade is rolling forwards in opposition. Inhale to lengthen out the right side rib, so the underside. Exhale, pull belly muscles in and lengthen both sides of your neck. So instead of looking up here, which will twist your neck and make it harder to breathe, lengthen both sides. Actively reach out through the right ball of the foot. The second stage is a forward bend. Either cross-legged, fold forwards over your cross legs, otherwise hands either side of the right thigh. Inhale to lift low ribs. Exhale, fold forwards, pulling the chest forwards rather than excessively rounding. Maybe the arms are able to go further, maybe grasping a hold of the heel. Inhale to stretch the ribs towards that right foot. Exhale, tuck the chin to lengthen the back of the neck, shoulders and shoulder blades down away from your ears. Smooth out your breathing. So aiming to get your breath moving in a way that your abdominals are moving. Now using the arms, inhale, bring yourself back up, and then sit cross-legged so we can look at where we're going next. In forest yoga, there is a lot of emphasis on doing core work at the start of the practice. One of the things that's missing is that there's this focus on dynamic abdominals, where we're doing like an inhale blah, exhale blah, but there isn't any real static abdominals. And I find when working inversions, that's exactly what we're being asked to do, is to feel for something static rather than inhale this, exhale this, unless of course you're doing dynamic movement in a handstand. So I want you to start factoring some of this into your practice, those of you that maybe don't have that in there. So for the purposes of that, one of the next parts you'll be doing in this forearm plank is actively reaching the elbows away from the shoulders and doing the action of wrapping the shoulder blade forward. So we're using the lats and beginning to switch on not only the core, but the parts of your back, the back muscles that also represent part of your core that give you that stability. So come down onto your elbows. If your shoulders are tight, go for hands clasped. Otherwise, measuring the distance of the elbows, grabbing the upper arms, set the forearms so they are parallel. Inhale to lift the space between the shoulders, so reaching the elbows down, and lengthen through the neck. Instead of tucking the toes from here, step the feet back, and then have the knees so they are lifted. You are going to need a very strong breath to help you here. Now, instead of rounding into the lower back, very slightly lift up through the sacrum and then scoop the chest forward. So a little bit of what you were working on in the cat arches. I find looking forwards and then tucking the chin gives a really good positioning for the head and neck. Push down through the elbows and almost feel for squeezing them towards each other. Maintain a steady breath. So we're going to be here for a little bit. Inhale to lengthen your low spine forwards away from your pelvis. Exhale, recruit your legs, especially the inner thighs. So inner thighs are moving towards each other. This is the same kind of essence that will be coming in when we start working forearm balance and handstands. So you don't want to have loosey-goosey legs. At the same time, you don't want to over-tuck your tailbone here. So finding where your interesting edge is. If you start hitting overwhelm, start shifting exhales through the mouth. Those of you working forearms parallel, press down through the thumb part of your hand and wrist. So you're getting that extra little bit of work for your forearm muscles. Keep going for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Set the knees down. Bring the hands back under the shoulders, and then flip yourself around. And coming down onto your back. If you've got a block or rolled up towel, grab a hold of that. You can use it on the medium setting when we get to the abdominals. When we get onto the abdominals, adding a second piece onto what is abdominals with the roll from Forest Yoga. So adding in some of the stuff I find really helpful when moving towards inversions. Before we do that, a little bit more from the movement flexibility part. So like we were talking about kicking up, how can you start replicating those shapes in your practice and your warm-up before you start going upside down? So coming down for splits on the back. Once you're down, bring your left knee into your chest and draw the thigh in close to your ribs. Left arm is going from the inside of the leg to hold the outside edge of the foot or the big toe. I like to hold the outside foot so it's less weird on the toe. Exhale, work the left leg straighter, but ideally keep the leg as close to your ribs as possible. Inhale to feel for lengthening your ribs and spine, not only down towards the mat, but towards the back of your mat. Exhale, push the leg away from you. Now, we're going to do a little bit of squeeze and release here. Inhale, push your left leg towards the front of the mat, but don't let it move. Exhale, ease the leg in towards you. So feeling for any release and let go, you relieve there. Inhale, push the leg towards the front of the mat, almost feeling the base of the thigh bone, so the top of it lifting towards the ceiling. Exhale, ease that leg in. Inhale, press away with the leg. Exhale, draw the leg in. So getting curious as to where you start to feel this in the back of the leg. Don't worry if the leg isn't straight, it doesn't need to be. Alright, release that left leg down. Bring your right knee into your chest. Left leg is long. Right arm is coming to the inside of the right leg, holding onto the foot or to the big toe. Gradually work the leg straighter. Inhale to stretch the ribs towards the back of the mat. Exhale, press out through the ball of the foot, beginning to feel that connection all the way from the foot down your calf muscles into your thigh. Inhale, press the right leg up towards the ceiling. Exhale, genuinely relax that and see if you can bring that leg in towards you a little bit more. So increasing that edge, but also your awareness and your ability to stay in those edge places. Inhale, press the leg away. Exhale, relax the leg, bringing the leg in perhaps a little bit closer. Another like that. Inhale, press the leg away. So almost feeling even your calves pressing away. Exhale, ease the leg in. Release the leg, grab your block. The block is going on a medium setting to the inner thighs as close to your pelvis as possible. And normally, this placement will be fine. I want you to have it so that the block is kind of hanging out the back, so there isn't anything blocking the front of your thighs. So if you put your hands on your quads, you should be able to feel that the block isn't blocking your thighs. Bring the legs so they're either straight up. If you tighten the hamstrings, legs are bending. So there's two parts to this. First round, we'll do a wee bit slower. Second round, we'll link the breath up so it's one full breath cycle rather than two. Inhale, press down through low back and pelvis. Hold the breath, curl the tailbone up, squeeze the block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift. Now this is the one with the extra breath round. Take another deep breath here. Exhale, squeeze your thighs towards your underarms, thinking knees are coming towards elbows, but don't use momentum. Inhale, legs go back up, head goes down. So now one breath per movement. Hold the breath. Curl tailbone up, squeeze the block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift. Once you're up, squeeze the thighs in towards your elbows, finding that pike action. Inhale, lay the head down. Hold your breath. curl, tailbone up, squeeze the block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift, curl tailbone up more, squeeze the thighs in towards your chest. Inhale, legs go up, head down, hold the breath. Curl tailbone up, squeeze the block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift, squeeze the legs towards your head, squeeze the block more, belly down. Inhale, lay the head down, hold your breath in. Curl, tailbone up, squeeze the block. Exhale, head and shoulders lift, curl tailbone a bit more, squeeze the legs in towards you, belly down. Inhale, legs up, head down, then feet down. Remove the block, roll to your left hand side, and then use your arms to come up from the ground. Where we're heading next. If you've got a wooden floor and it can slide a little bit, do this. If you're on carpet, you can actually put like paper or a magazine or a book under your feet and it should slide. Well, you can buy these very expensive things for sliding on carpet, but you can also use a bit of paper or a coaster. That will also work. I like the cheap option myself. Free, preferably. So from the next part, you're going to be doing a similar action to the forearms. Wrist sensitive, remember you can do this on your elbows. And your aim is to feel for bringing the knees in towards your upper arms first, then knees towards the inside of the arms. So arm placement is thinking knees towards the upper outer arms. Second part is knees coming in between the elbows. So it's two different actions. So either hands are at the back of your mat or on your elbows. Come into a plank position and lift between the shoulder blades. Take a deep breath. Exhale, squeeze the knees towards your upper arms, lifting high on the tiptoes. Inhale, slide the legs back. So it's less of a momentum thing, more that you're in control. Exhale, squeeze the knees towards the upper outer arms. Inhale, send the legs back. Exhale, knees towards upper outer arms. Inhale, slide back. This time to the inside of the arms. Exhale, drag the knees in, lift between the shoulder blades. Inhale, slide back. You have a nice clean floor if you're doing this on a wooden floor. Exhale, drag the knees in. Inhale, send them back. Exhale, drag the knees in. Inhale, send them back. Alright. So ideally, increasing that towards doing about 5 of each of those and doing those regularly. Now in forest yoga, we spend a lot of time in Dolphin rather than downward facing dog. And I found, especially I had to take about 9 months off of doing handstands at one point, and I found that actually all the work on the forearms was fantastic. So I was able to still maintain the strength and the ability in my shoulders, even though the hands weren't massively happy about being on the ground. So I didn't lose anything. In fact, I feel like I learned a lot from that part. So in the next piece, if you've got a block, you work with it between your hands. It gives you something tangibly that you can squeeze between your hands and really help you with the shapes that we're looking for. So if you're doing that, come down onto your elbows. Elbows are in line with the hands. Exhale, draw your shoulder blades back, shoulder blades down. Inhale, lift up the space between your shoulder blades and relax your neck. Exhale, squeeze the block, squeeze the elbows towards each other and then tuck the toes, lifting the knees up. Tighten the hamstrings, simply bend the knees. Inhale to lift the ribcage up away from your upper arms. Exhale, flex chest muscles, press the chest towards the back of the mat, neck is long. Inhale, lift the ribcage and torso up away from your arms. Exhale, use your legs to pull the pelvis towards the back of the room and the sit bones up towards the ceiling. So instead of your head being on the floor, push down through your upper arms, so through your humerus and through the forearms to create space for the head and neck. If you're gripping your jaw, it's going to make it very difficult for you to do deep breathing, so relax that. Inhale, lengthen your sacrum up away from your shoulders. Exhale, push down through forearms, even the wrists, and squeeze the block. Inhale, set the knees down, and then sit up. Give your arms a little bit of movement, so that can be a lot of stuff going on in the shoulders as we start to prepare. Stand up. Come to the front of your yoga mat. Once you're at the front, go for feet about hip distance to start with, and then bring the hands together at your chest. During the sun salutations, focus on similar movements we did in the abdominals, or bringing the rib cage and the abdominals closer to the legs using your abdominal muscles. These are things that we can then use when we start taking to the air, so especially finding pike actions. We'll be adding in some lunges as we get into this. Those of you that know classical sun salutations, adding in some extra little components here. Hands come together at chest. Inhale, bring the arms wide and lift the arms up. Forward bend. Exhale, fold down over the legs, neck relaxed. Use abdominals to draw the ribs closer to the thighs. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen your chest forwards, coming up onto fingertips. Keep the hands on the floor rather than on shins. Lunge. Exhale, take your left leg back, set the knee down, but have your toes tucked on that left foot. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, tuck tailbone down and squeeze your left leg towards the front of the room and push down through your left foot. Plank, hands down. Now this movement, people kind of rush. Push into your hands, lift the sacrum, and then very lightly lift, then step the right foot, don't drag it. Inhale, move shoulders in front of wrists. Exhale, bend the elbows, lowering down to the abdominals. Cobra. Inhale, lift the chest and lift your hands, squeezing the shoulder blades back. So a different version of Cobra. Downward facing dog. Exhale, hands under shoulders, lift knees up. Lunge. Inhale to lightly step your left foot through between the hands, right toes stay tucked. Inhale, bring the arms up. Exhale, tuck tailbone down, push down through your right foot, but squeeze the right thigh towards the front of your mat. Forward bend. Exhale, hands down, step forwards, and halfway lift. Inhale, scoop the rib cage towards the front of the mat, point sit bones back. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, take the arms wide, come all the way up towards standing. Exhale, hands come together at chest. Inhale, reach up, arms go wide. Forward bend. Exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen the chest forwards, even lengthen through neck, but don't whip the head up. Lunge. Exhale, right foot back, toes tucked. Inhale, bring the arms up, tailbone tucks down, push into your right foot. Plank, hands down. So this moment again. Tuck the right toes, lift sacrum, lift the left foot, step it back. Exhale, bend elbows and lower. Cobra. Inhale, lengthen the chest forward, squeeze the hands from the mat, tailbone tucks down, push through the feet. Downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck toes, lift knees. Lunge. Inhale, right foot steps through, left toes tucked. Inhale, bring the arms up, lift chest up. Forward bend. Exhale, hands down, step forwards, neck relaxed. Shift the weight towards your heels. Inhale, lengthen the weight forward. So now you're scooping into that half lift, maybe hands are flat. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, arms wide, lift all the way up. Exhale, hands together, chest. Inhale, lift up. Forward bend. Exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen the chest forwards. Lunge. Exhale, left foot back. Inhale, bring the arms up, tailbone tucks down. Plank. Exhale, hands down, step back, bend elbows and lower. Cobra, hands up. Inhale, lift chest, squeeze the hands up off the mat. Downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck toes, lift knees up. Lunge. Inhale, lightly step left foot through. Inhale, bring the arms up. Forward bend. Exhale, hands down, step forwards, neck relaxed. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards into that half lift, pointing sit bones back. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, take the arms wide, chest lifts high. Exhale, hands to chest. Inhale, reach the arms high. Forward bend. Exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen the chest forwards, lengthen neck forwards. Lunge, right leg steps back, knee down. Inhale, bring the arms up. Plank. Exhale, hands down, step back, bend elbows and lower. Cobra, hands up. Inhale, lift chest, lift hands, tuck tailbone. Downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck toes, lift knees. Lunge. Inhale, right foot through between the hands, left knee down, arms up. Forward bend. Exhale, hands down, step forwards, neck relaxed. Halfway lift. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, take the arms wide, come all the way up towards standing. Exhale, hands together at chest. Inhale, lift up. Forward bend. Exhale. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen the chest forwards. Lunge. Exhale, left foot back. Inhale, bring the arms up, tailbone tucks down. Plank. Exhale, hands down, step back, bend elbows and lower. Cobra, hands up. Inhale, lift chest, squeeze the hands up off the mat. Downward facing dog. Exhale, tuck toes, lift knees up. Lunge. Inhale, lightly step left foot through. Inhale, bring the arms up. Forward bend. Exhale, hands down, step forwards, neck relaxed. Inhale, scoop the chest forwards into that half lift, pointing sit bones back. Forward bend. Exhale. Inhale, take the arms wide, chest lifts high. Exhale, hands to chest. Inhale, reach the arms high. Forward bend, exhale. Halfway lift, inhale, lengthen the chest forwards, lengthen neck forwards. Lunge, right leg steps back, knee down. Inhale, bring the arms up. Plank, exhale, hands down, step back, bend elbows and lower. Cobra, hands up, inhale, lift chest, lift hands, tuck tailbone. Downward facing dog, exhale, tuck toes, lift knees. Lunge, inhale, right foot through between the hands, left knee down, arms up. Forward bend, exhale, hands down, step forwards, neck relaxed. Halfway lift, inhale, scoop the chest forwards. Forward bend, exhale. Inhale, take the arms wide, come all the way up towards standing. Exhale, hands together at chest. If you feel like you want to get a wee bit warmer, add in some more of these and start working perhaps progressively a little bit deeper into your lunges so you can begin opening up through the quads and the hamstrings. But for now, take your yoga mat to the wall so you've got a wall that you can be at that is a decent surface for you to walk your feet up. Have your yoga mat so it is a decent enough distance away from that wall. So I'm going to be using this pillow on the fireplace. And you want to be about an extended legs distance from the wall with these, so you can do a quick measurement. So first thing we're starting with is Dolphin on the wall. In Dolphin on the wall, hands will be clasped. Now instead of resting the weight on your head, your aim is to do that push up through the ulnar blade, like we've been doing in Dolphin, like we've been doing in some of those mobilization exercises, so you have space. We'll then be taking one foot off of the wall. Anytime you need to take a break, come on down. The way I like to explain this to people in class, if you are doing Dolphin and you can do 8 uninterrupted breaths, fantastic. Then move on to Dolphin on the wall. Your aim is to then build up towards 8 uninterrupted breaths in Dolphin on the wall, and then maybe you're clear strength-wise to start working forearm balance, 8 uninterrupted breaths. But it takes time to get that. So if you're at 1 breath in Dolphin on the wall, then we have room for progress, room for change. So Dolphin folks, come down onto the elbows, clasp the hands, do a quick check, elbows aren't too far apart. Inhale, lift up the space between the shoulder blades. Exhale, squeeze the chest muscles, tuck toes, feet are on the ground, and then take the feet up so they're no higher than your pelvis. Those of you very flexible in your lower back, you need to almost lift your lower back away from the wall and lift the sit bones up. Inhale, push down through the elbows and the forearms. Exhale, lift and spread your toe tips so the toes are pulling away from the wall. Now you can either stay here or inhale to drive your left leg up, right foot into the wall. Inhale, lift the lower back up away from your shoulders. Exhale, push down through elbows, forearms and wrists. Maintain a steady breath here and track if the jaw is over engaging. You can relax that without being all tight in your jaw. Bring the left leg back onto the wall if you moved it. Inhale, lift the right leg up, drive up through the heel. Inhale, lift the sacrum up away from the ground. Exhale, reach up through the right heel and drive the left heel into the wall. So at this point, it's not about balance. This is just simply a weight-bearing position. This is a wee bit more strength-based than Dolphin. Inhale, lift sacrum up away from the ground. Exhale, bring the right foot back onto the wall and then begin to walk your feet down, setting the knees down and then sit up. Switch deep breathing on. Move the arms, move the shoulders, especially if that is newer for you or very challenging for you. Where you're heading next. So moving into Dolphin on the wall, down dog on the wall rather. If you are working with any issues in the wrists, simply bring it back down onto the elbows, and there's value in repeating what we're doing. I mean, I'm assuming, hopefully, you'll do this video more than once so you can start to work on these skills. This one is a wee bit of a different distance from the wall, so just be aware as you come into this, your aim is to feel like you're right underneath yourself. If you're unsure, I recommend setting up a mirror or something so you can see that your hips are above your hands. If your hips are behind your hands, you are going to be at an angle and you're very heavy that way, but you're also pressing a huge amount into your wrists. You can support yourself better when you get the weight stacked through your bones. So coming onto all fours, setting up almost like a tabletop position, hands are shoulder width apart. Tuck the toes and lift the knees up for downward facing dog. From down dog, grip the fingers against the floor and then step one foot up onto the other, bringing the shoulders so they are above the wrists. Any edits that you need to do here, simply move the hands a little closer to the wall. Now this one's going to go a wee bit further than last time. Inhale to lift the left leg up. This time go to the tiptoes of your right foot and begin to send the left leg over. So it's a really fun place to play with split
handstand. If you feel like there's a balance point issue, have a wee look down in between your hands and it should hopefully stop you from going over. If you go back the way you went up, hopefully there won't be any terrible falls. Find it in the comment section. Alright, now bring the left leg back onto the wall. Inhale, lift the right leg up. So you're actively reaching the right thigh over, maybe moving onto the left toes. I like to work this moving the chest closer to the wall, but you may want more support by looking down in between your hands. So this is a much stronger element than what we've been working with so far. Alright, bring the right leg back onto the wall, step the feet down, and then sit up from there. Take a little bit of movement through the shoulders, a little bit of movement through the arms, especially if that was challenging. So this takes up a huge amount of weight and strength. One of the places, if you're wanting to start developing your skills, is to start taking movement through your legs in shoulder stands that you would then take into the air. One of my favourites is beginning to move through straddle, and this can teach you some of the ways that you would then move when you kick up into handstand. If you know handstand is going to be absorbing like 99% of your thinking capacity and your movement capacity, then you need to do kinesthetic warm-up and preparation to teach yourself the stuff the legs are going to do so that they can occupy that 1% that you've got left, so they know what they're doing. And that happens when you do things in shoulder stand. So for the next part, if you need to, fold your yoga mat again, so you've got a wee bit more space, and you'll be passing through some ranges. I want to show you super quick where you're going to be going, and I'll talk you through it. So we'll have a little look. So you'll be rocking up so the pelvis is above the hands, and then working the legs out towards straddle. So already here's the shape maybe that your hips haven't made today, especially with your butt in the air. Rolling through the hips towards split like we did on the wall, and then wrapping the legs around into twisted root. A lot easier when their legs aren't weight bearing. Then rolling through that, around the other way, and wrapping the legs up. So, from where you are, come down onto your back, brace the elbows down, make sure your head and neck are on a yoga mat. You're going to push down through your elbows or through your hands and rock the hips up, just enough that you can get your hips above your elbows. You don't need to put your pelvis above your face. I don't see that as very sensible. Actively take the legs into straddle. So instead of inner thighs pointing up, have the inner thighs pointing towards your face. Inhale, reach your right leg towards the front of your mat, your left leg towards the back of your mat. Your pelvis will move, so you'll see how your wrists need you to behave in order for that to feel comfortable. Cross the legs and then bend them, wrapping the legs up into twisted root. Send the legs up so you get that little bit of hip unclog. Inhale, unravel, going back into that almost twisted scissor split. Inhale, roll around the straddle. So you're moving through your range, being careful not to knock everything over, and then crossing the thighs, bending the legs for twisted root. Drive the legs up so you're lifting up away from your sacrum. Inhale, come back into that split-legged position. Bring the legs around from straddle, bend the knees in, hold the back of your thighs, and then slowly lower down. Take a hold of the outside edges of your feet for dead bug. In dead bug, you get a moment to not only traction out your wrists, but also just to work into your hips and your lower back. Push your feet up against your hands, press the pelvis down, and lengthen through the back of your skull so the chin is tucking. So after all this work on the hands, you can do a little bit of a hook with your fingers and traction your wrists out here, so feeling for the forearms pulling down. If you need a bit more, take one hand and pull down on the forearm if the wrist is feeling really compressed, and even squeeze into your forearms. It's almost like a little Thai massage, squeezing of the forearm bones. Let go of the legs, set the feet to the floor, and relax your arms down by your side for Shavasana. Just a couple of minutes of integration and rest after that strong work that we've done together. Take any wee movements you need to get more comfortable where you are, and I'll bring you around in a moment. begin to deepen your breath. Take a little bit of movement into fingers and toes. Take a deep breath to feel the strong work you've been doing. Take another deep breath to feel the openness you've been creating in the hips, the legs, and the awareness in the shoulders and wrists. Roll to your left. Use your arms to come up from the ground towards seated. Use your left hand to bring your head up. Once you're up, bring your hands together at the chest. Spread the fingers, press the palms into one another. Acknowledge any wins from today's practice. Maybe it was working something in a new way or finding something that you can add into what you already do. Take it on board as a win without using the lens of scarcity. So there's plenty to go around. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, bow forwards.
Namaste.